Hey, welcome back to the Mindshare Podcast. This show is sponsored by Kits Keep In Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals. REM, Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. And OREA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, Canada's largest provincial real estate association. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the details of our upcoming Mindshare Mastermind, as well as download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare to get more market share. Plus, learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 283. So, this is one of those episodes where it is once again just you and I. Now, I'm getting a lot of good feedback from people who seem to be reaching out saying, Dave, I really like those solo episodes. I'm going to tell you, today's episode I've titled Real, Blunt, Straight Talk. A little dose of reality. So if you know me, well, you know that I'd say that I hope you're buckled up. And if you don't know me, well, I thank you for tuning into the show today. And I hope that you're going to come back again, next week and the week after and the week after and the week after. And, well, you're going to put this at the top of your playlist and make sure that you're tuning in every single week. But no, seriously, well, not like but no. Seriously, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. In fact, I got to tell you, the show itself over the past number of weeks, I guess you could say, and typically speaking, it ranks really well. And that's again, we've been around 6 years and or 6 seasons, you want to call it, which is 6 years, I guess. We've got a lot of folks that tune in that really enjoy the show. But lately, we've been we hit number 6 on iTunes the other day. We were ranking in the top 25 the week prior to that. So there's some good things happening. You know, the guests have been fantastic. We've been learning a lot. And of course, it's a crazy time out there, right? We look at the market of what's going on. Listings seem to be coming, and this is a positive thing. When we look at the real estate market, listings do seem to be coming, but deals seem to be getting a lot harder to close. And I think what's going on right now is that there's a lot of people out there who just think to themselves, well, hey, I want to put my house on the market. I want to try to get the best money I could possibly get, and of course I want to get the money that I got, or that my neighbors got 2 years ago. People are, talk about a dose of reality, right? Like, sellers are not necessarily paying attention to what the prices should be. They're just paying attention to what they want them to be. We also know that people don't have enough money. Look, and this is something we've been talking about on a lot of the solo episodes we've been doing lately, but groceries cost a lot more money. Gasoline costs a lot more money. Taxes just, it's like we're getting taxed on everything, and we're getting taxed, 5 times on everything. Mortgage rates, interest rates. I mean, everything has gone up. The cost of living continues to go up, and it continues to hinder people and hold people back from being able to do the things that they want to do. Now, we'll talk to mindsets, and we'll talk to what that actually does to people and what we can do to really stay sharp and stay in the moment. But overall, just there's a lot of pent-up optimism. But the action, it's not that hot out there right now. People are waiting to see what's going to happen with interest rates, in June. Just a few weeks away from now. My thoughts, and I think all the speculation says, rates are not going to come down. But the flip side to that is, let's say rates did come down. What's going to happen to the prices? Like the prices of the homes. They're going to go up, which is going to make it even more difficult for people to afford. Now, the mainstream media, as they always do, they paint this picture about the sky falling and how people are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars on their home. But I really want to clarify, it's all a bunch of bullshit. Okay, let's break this down. First of all, I'm not going to shy away from that. There's a lot of bullshit out there, right? There's a lot of bullshit for what the media spews. They're looking for headlines. They're looking for people to really pay attention on what they're saying. If you've been watching some of the socials that I've been putting out lately, and you've been seeing some of the videos that we put out, and a lot of the green screen videos as we talk about, the price of a house. There was one house that lost like $700,000. There was another house that lost like $800,000. I just put one up the other day that talked about the fact that there was, 6 failed attempts to sell. And in all of it, It's about getting down to the bottom line and understanding what was the original price, how much did this person pay, when did they originally buy it, was it the height of the market? And as we look at a lot of these, that's exactly it. Like, I mean, if I go back to the one with the 6 failed attempts right now, these people went and bought their house, and I don't have the numbers in front of me anymore, but they went and bought their house for like $981,000 back in January 2022, height of the market. They did some renovations, like some minor renovations, which I again, the writer of this particular article where I read this talked about how this house boasts over 1,000 square feet of living space. Boasts over 1,000 square feet. And think about it. People are reading these headlines thinking, wow. But think about how it skews the mindset. Think about what it's doing to people. They're thinking, wow, this is, a great property. They've done renovations to it, and these numbers look normal. We're talking $1 million. It's normal for 1,000 square feet of a house that you're probably going to want to renovate or even tear down. Anyhow, they went and did the minor renovations. They did the front door. They did some vents. They did a little bit of electrical work, and then they put the house back on the market for another $240,000 above what they bought it for. Now, it's really important to state, and this is the one thing that the article never talked about, and I had to do some digging for this one, but the house was actually listed at in the high fives or just below 6, and somebody went in and basically paid almost $400,000 more in the height of the market back in 2022 for a house that really wasn't worth that money. So the value became skewed. Then the person's mindset became skewed about the fact that they did some renovations, and now, of course, because they did renovations, they could sell it for more. And then we saw when they put it up, they didn't get any movement. And we literally saw them adjust prices from putting it up for $240,000 more than they purchased it for, then dropping that by $20,000, then going up by $80,000, then coming down by $400,000, then going up by $10,000, then going down by $200,000. And you looked and said, what is this seller thinking? What is the realtor thinking? What is the public thinking when they look at this? It's confusing. It's really confusing as to what's going on out there in terms of the prices. But again, when we talk about the fact that we were at the height of the market back in 2022, there's nobody that should be expecting to be able to sell their house for the same type of prices in today's market. And it's not that the sky is falling. It's not that it's horrible out there. It's not that you can't find opportunity. But based on the factors that I mentioned earlier about the cost of living and the fact that interest rates are up, naturally speaking, it's going to be a lot harder to come by the money that we require to go purchase the home. On top of the fact that most people that have been in a house for the past 10 years, if you were to go to try to rebuy your house right now, you're buying it for double the money. Never mind the fact that the interest rate is double. So the overall mortgage payment is that much higher. So again, it's making it tougher to get the deals done right now, and a lot of it comes down to financing. I do recognize that this will be isolated to certain markets. There are certain markets, such as the East Coast right now, where I'm hearing there's a lot of action happening. At the same time, too, the East Coast doesn't get to see the same type of price increases and action that some of the major urban centers will see, again, when the markets are just going off like crazy. And this all just has to do with, population and people and, what is everybody looking for? Look, there's an opportunity here. And I think that that's something that everybody has to pay attention to and has to take in and go, where, right? Because I know there's a lot of people that are stressing. But there's a lot of people that are going to need to adjust their expenses, which means there's a lot of people that are going to be putting their houses on the market. Again, a lot bought way too high. And as they come up for the renewal and the interest rates are higher, they're realizing the mortgage payments are way higher. It's time to make a move. It's time to adjust something. So look, again, I'm not sitting here saying the sky's falling. I'm putting it out there to say, here's what the facts are. Here's where the mindsets are at. Now, if you want opportunity or if you want to win, go out there and get it. Go have those conversations. You see, I mentioned a moment ago, the rates coming down, and there's a lot of people that are waiting to see what the rate announcement's going to be. Well, like I said, if the rates come down, prices are probably going to go up. And if rates remain the same, people are still going to have to adjust. Look, with this federal government we have in place, it is only going to get harder. It is going to get harder before it gets easier. We've got a $1.2 trillion deficit in this country. $48 billion a year is spent on taxes alone just to pay that debt. Think about that, $48 billion just to pay the debt. This federal government's giving out money left, right, and center to other countries, yet people here in Canada have to decide between groceries and gasoline. How does that even make sense? And then they go on to talk about the fact that, we're doing what Canadians want us to do. We're listening to Canadians. Like, I don't know what Canadians you're listening to. I mean, I saw another one, and I don't know if this is completely substantiated or not, but just learned the other day, and in fact, I saw it come up in an article, a few articles. I then saw some other people talking about it. So again, I'm not sitting here telling you it's hardcore fact, but there's enough substance behind it to say that this is something that is happening. Is that Canadians will now need to start paying to go to parks. But young children and new Canadians are absolutely free. Like, I'm sorry, but what the fuck? How is that possible? How is it possible? And I'll tell you how it feels, right? It feels as if us who have been here either since day one or for a very long time, who go to work, who understand how the society works, understand how the taxes work, understand what it takes to go earn a living and what it takes to survive in this economic environment. Whether again we're seeing high interest rates or we're seeing things that are expensive, I'm talking just the Canadian economy, right? We understand how it works. We're born with it. We learned it from a young age, so we operate to it. When we think about it, we're the ones that are going out and paying for all of this stuff. We're paying for the parks, yet we're paying for the parks to be maintained, yet we're paying to go into the park. We are paying for all of this aid money that's going out overseas, yet we're also paying double for everything else. I mean, look, that might have sounded confusing. The bottom line to me, like when I look at all this country is no longer the Canada that we knew it was at a time. And I don't know that we're ever going back to where we were. I mean, this is a cool one. We're actually hearing about a movement now from a lot of people to not pay taxes anymore. Because when you think about the taxes, we're literally paying out over 50% of our money to taxes. You pay the income tax, then you get your money, then you go spend it, so you got to pay sales tax. I mean, there's over 50% of that is going to taxes. And why? Again, so they can keep helping other people. Well, what about helping us? What about helping Canadians? What about making it easier for people here to live? I know we're a good country and, the world knows us as the people that like to say sorry. So how about this? No, I'm sorry. We can't help you right now. We got our own shit to deal with. And until we get our shit under control, we can't keep sending money to other people. Let alone, I'm real curious, how much of that money is going to this guy's secret bank account that one day when he's no longer, in this role that he has, which I don't understand why he's still there. How much is he going to collect? Look, everybody is severely overwhelmed right now, right? There is so much going on out there. It's as if the pandemic caused things to only get worse after the fact, like this recovery stage, right? But not maybe worse is not even the word I'm looking for. Maybe it's negative. There's a lot of negativity. There was a lot of uncertainty during the pandemic. People didn't know what to think. People didn't know what to do. But it started to change our habits, right? It started to change the way we do things. It started to change the way we operate, the way we think about things, what we trust and what we don't trust, who we trust, which again changes the way we do things. I mean, shopping habits, going more online. Working habits, maybe not always going into the office. But I think what we really need to do, we need to find the positive And to find positive, it comes down to what we are willing to do and what we are willing not to do. What we do to make things happen, okay? Let me be clear about that. It's easy to get up every single day and just kind of do the same thing you've been doing all the time, not have a plan, not really know what's going on, and just kind of wake up and kind of go. And look, a lot of people can survive that way. Really, though, when we start to look at what it takes to survive in general and what it takes to achieve in general, it takes having a plan. I mean, you think about this, okay? Let's go here. My mind right away, for some reason, just went here. But take a pilot. A pilot who flies one of those big planes that we all go in to go on vacations or travel for business or whatever. Do you think that pilot just literally gets into the cockpit of the plane, flips like the million switches they got to flip, goes to the runway and just starts flying and hopes once she gets up in the sky, they decide, I'm just going to, I think I know where I'm going. No. There's a plan. There's a flight plan. Which way are you going to go once you get up there? There's a plan for how to operate this thing. There's hundreds of people sitting in this plane and it's flying through the sky. It's not going to work without a plan. I mean, you could go down a million roads with this one. Hell, I could take us to going for a hike. You go out into the forest or whatever, in the woods, the mountains. You go for a hike. Do you not have a plan? Did you come prepared with the right equipment, the right shoes, the right gear? Did you come prepared with a compass? Do you know where you're going? For anything in life, in order to have success with it, there's got to be a plan. There's got to be a plan on how we operate. There's got to be a plan to be consistent. And throughout that time, we've got to recognize that there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. The plan isn't going to go exactly to plan. And so I would say the same when I talk about, what's going on with the economy. It's a day-by-day thing. Right now, yeah, there's some shit going on that's only making it worse. We'd like them to reverse some of the things to make it better faster. But no matter how you slice it, when we're talking about an economy and a country and a market, it doesn't just turn overnight, right? It starts to build, and then things begin to change. But all of that takes time. And as you look at the cycle that we've been in now, this is this 4-year cycle we've been at. It's already been 4 years since the pandemic began. Yes, it's long over, which thank God it's long over. And the fact that we're still talking about it every single time I bring it up, I'm like, Dave, what are you doing, man? Shut up. Don't say that word anymore. But you think about it. Think about the reverberations from it, right? Like, think about what happened because of it. Again, the mindsets and the way we operate, etc. This is where I come back to. I'm almost going to say none of it matters. It really doesn't. Why? Because you got to get up every single day. You've got bills to pay every single day. You've got shit you got to do every single day. So stop worrying about it. Stop thinking about the negativity. Have a plan. I mean, here's another part when we talk about a plan. Social media. What's your plan? I cannot stand social media anymore. Do you hear that slurp? That sip. That's me having a cup of coffee while I sit here and record this episode today in my beautiful mug. Now you might be thinking, like, why would your mug be so beautiful? Well, because it's a rechargeable mug. I've actually got an app for the mug, and every time I fill up my coffee, it tells me exactly the temperature that my coffee's at, and then I can enjoy my coffee for like a good, 60 to 90 minutes at the perfect temperature. It just doesn't get colder. Anyhow, look, I'm sure I've told you about my mug. This is not about my mug today. We're not talking about the mug. I mean, we're talking about the mug a little bit, but seriously, let's go here. And no, I didn't lose my train of thought. I was just having a sip of coffee. Back to the social media conversation for a moment. Again, going through what we went through, we became more connected on social. As we developed the habit, because habits develop over time, we developed the habit that we started going on to social media more often. We started to look for more information. We started to connect with people more. We started to make it that we would pick it up more often in our hands without even realizing it. Now think about the time, because there's no plan around that. We haven't planned when we're going on there, which, by the way, word to the wise, you certainly should be. You should have a block of time in your calendar every day that says social media. And it might sound silly, it might feel weird to have that block of time. But that's how we control how much time we spend on there. And I'd say that based on the time that we spend on there, part of that is also understanding that it's not only about the time that we spend on there, but it's about the time that we're taking away from doing other things. Think about the things that we're losing out on when we're spending just aimless amounts of minutes and even hours on social media in a day, watching what other people are doing, watching what other people are achieving, watching what they have and what you don't have, watching the negativity, watching the crazy, stories and content that, think about the messaging that we consume on these platforms. There's some funny stuff, there's some really enlightening stuff, there's some positive stuff, and there's a lot of negative stuff. But it's become an addiction for people. Like, people are addicted to picking up that phone. It used to be that we would have time to think. You finished work, you're by yourself in the car. Fine, you turn on the radio, you turn on your favorite tunes. Once upon a time, there wasn't the smartphone, there wasn't the Bluetooth. Okay, that's one thing. But even with that stuff, now it's like we scroll and we look for all this news and we look for everything. But, the car is one idea. How about, like, sitting at home on the couch with your family, watching a show? Commercial comes on, and what does everybody do? They pick up their phones. And they start taking time away from each other. Or you go to a restaurant together, and all of a sudden everybody's looking down at their phone while you're sitting there together as a family or a bunch of friends, 3, 4, or more of you, maybe 2, whatever. But there's 2 people or more in person with each other, and they're staring at phones. Again, we're addicted. We no longer have time to think. We no longer have time to get into our own thoughts. We no longer have time to just kind of focus in on ourselves. We don't allow ourselves that time because we're constantly consuming other people's thoughts and other people's opinions. Well, how are we ever going to figure out what we want? How are we ever going to stay focused on what we want when we're always so focused on what other people are doing? Think about it for a moment. That time to think, that time to reflect. It's not as present anymore. The opportunities are still there, but because the addiction to the distraction device, your smartphone, we just kind of we don't give ourselves that. And again, my encouragement to everybody is really control the time that you spend on these platforms. Really control how much time you spend consuming other people's thoughts and opinions. Have a plan. Now, much the same. When it comes to, again, social, and it comes to your content, don't go chasing the algorithms. I was having an awesome conversation with one of our amazing, amazing clients the other day, and we were talking about the fact that, we're sick and tired of trying to chase the algorithms. And I mentioned what I've always mentioned, right? Don't try and chase them. It's a daily thing. They're changing on a regular. You're going to get caught just trying to keep up. And why? Just so you could see if you get more likes or more views? It's, again, this whole social media craze has completely consumed us. You go to a game, you go to an event, what do you see? You see everybody holding up their phones. They're trying to record it. Why? Why are you trying to record it? You are right there in person. Watch it. Enjoy it. You don't need to take it, record it, and post it up on social media to show everybody what you're up to. Oh my God, look where I am right now. Oh, look at us right now. And don't get me wrong. Yes, I will from time to time, if I'm out at the game or whatnot, I'll take a picture and post it up. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. We've all gotten into this craze, and this is what I'm just trying to bring to light is, trying to stop that. Instead, not just posting to post, but posting with purpose. Posting for a reason. Posting because we're going to add value. And most importantly, being sure that we live in the moment when you're actually in the moment. Look, if you're at the game, if you're watching the sunset, if you're out on a date night, and you want to take a picture or a little video, capture it on your phone. But just don't feel the need to post it immediately. Like, I have to post this, otherwise it never happened. Again, it's changed the way we operate. Right? It's changed the way we do things. We are so much less focused on the people that we are with in person. We're so much less focused on ourselves. Which, if we're not focused on ourselves, how are we ever going to become better versions of ourselves? See, like, the other thing that social's doing to us, this access to everything that we, and I'd say even the smartphone, right? But this access to everything, yeah, I guess it's not just social media. But if you think about the social media life we live, and the ability to access everything we want in like one tap, we expect everything immediately. And that's including business deals. That's including people to, on the road, like to just get out of our way. And trust me, I hate slow drivers. I can't stand when people are driving slow in the left lane. Like, what are you doing? Didn't you go to driving school? Did you ever see that? You're on the highway and somebody's like in the left lane and they're driving like 100. Why? Get out of the left lane. Go into the right lane. Hell, get off the highway. The left lane is meant for passing. It is meant for going faster. Anyways. See, this is what I'm saying, right? Like, we don't have patience anymore. But seriously, that's a problem. That impacts the way we treat each other. And all of that comes back to these smartphones and the distraction device and the social media and the connectivity and the ability to get what we want as soon as we want it. I mean, look, I don't even have to leave my house. I could go onto Amazon. I could buy something, and it'll literally show up potentially that day or the next day. I didn't have to move. Habits have changed. Again, the way we operate has changed. And I'm not suggesting here that we got to stop everything and go backwards, although some days I truly feel like I would love to do that. I'd love to get rid of social. I'd love to get rid of the smartphone. I'd love to get rid of that so that we can go back to being, calmer, more in control individuals. See, again, I say it that way because, as I said earlier, we don't have time anymore for ourselves. We don't have time to kind of reflect. We don't have time to get into our thoughts. We don't have time to make ourselves better. Because we're so busy consuming other stuff in the moments where we should be reflecting. I mean, if you didn't have social and you didn't have the smartphones, you might be able to pick up a landline and call your friend, but you might also just, go outside and, listen to the birds chirping for a little bit. But now we just consume, and we consume, and we consume, and we consume. And again, all of that is causing us, and our minds, and the way we treat other people, there's just... There is... What's the... People are inconsiderate with each other now. We just don't care. Look, driving, looking at social, having everything we want, leading to, people being inconsiderate with each other. That access to everything has just changed the way we operate. Now, here, talk about business deals, okay? Meeting new people takes time to establish rapport with people. Takes time to build up trust with people. And especially in the industry that we're in, when it comes to buying and selling, it takes time for people to make the right decisions. But oh no. We saw a crazy market where houses sold in 30, 60, 90 seconds. I live a life that gives me access to everything I want as soon as I want it. So why are people waiting? Why aren't they just doing it right now? Why is it that the first time I had a conversation with somebody, it didn't turn into a deal? Why? I want the deal. What are they waiting for? Why is it taking so long? Again, 30, 60, 90 seconds in real estate, it's not real. It was real for a moment in time, but it's not real. Usually it's 30, 60, 90 days. But again, because we want everything immediately, we don't have patience. A new opportunity comes in. We pick up the phone. Maybe there's somebody we know or somebody we don't know. Why aren't they doing the deal right away? Oh, because we don't have patience. Oh, that one didn't work out. Well, did you follow up? Nah, you know what? I called them a couple times. It didn't work. We're talking about houses, people. We're talking about a life change. We're talking about the biggest expenses of somebody's life. And where did all this come from? Again, it came back to this second pandemic that we're dealing with, which I, again, call this connectivity. This social media, this need for immediacy, this expectation that it's going to happen that way. And that, to me, compounded with what's going on economically, the mindsets, all of our mindsets are feeling the brunt of everything. It's normal. And I'm going to tell you now, if you're feeling it at some points, you're not alone. So again, the action step here. After this little rant of mine about social media and immediacy and taking you down the road of, drivers in the left lane and and having a sip of my coffee in between. Mindsets, feeling the brunt, again, action step, stay focused on what you want. Think about your goals. Think about what you truly want. But also, again, be realistic about what's going on outside. Be realistic about the fact that, again, everything's that much more expensive. I'm having conversations with people whose mindsets are down because they want more and they can't afford more. Yet they're going out there working their tails off every single day and they're still having trouble getting more. Now, I'm not talking that these people aren't able to have a house or have a mortgage or have food on their plate or go out. I'm not talking about, like all-out difficulties. But again, we've been led to believe, especially growing up in this country, that if you do work hard and you are ambitious and you do put in the effort, you should get the results. And I've said that to you many times. Put in the effort, get the results. But again, be realistic. At this moment in time, be realistic. We've never seen prices the way they are. The interest rates are going to take time. So just because you want the new car or just because you want to take the vacation, hey, maybe now's not the right time. But understand, you are not alone. You're not. There are so many people in the exact same boat right now. And again, I'm telling you, there's going to be a ton of opportunity because there's a lot of people that went way in over their heads. Like, you think about back to that deal that I told you about, the 6 failed attempts. You think about the fact that house was originally listed, I think it was, now it's coming to mind, I think it was $561. And bought for like $982. What are you thinking? Why would you go in and spend $300,000 or $400,000 more? Why were you looking at a $600,000 home and you paid almost $1 million? What was going on in this person's head? And that was a couple years ago when the rates were lower. Now think about the fact that the person was looking at a $600,000 home, spent $400,000 more than they I guess should have been looking at or should have been spending. Now the rates have gone up. Well, you think about it. You think that person's going to be able to afford that house that much longer? No. That's why they sold it. That's why it went through 6 failed attempts. They needed to get out. And at the end of the day, yeah, they talked about a loss. Well, if they just bought it, reasonably bought it, from where the list price was to what they paid for it, they actually would have been up. Now, if you're sitting there right now going, yeah, but Dave, that's not how the market was back then. You had to go in strong. You had to offer more, and you had to go in no conditions. No, you didn't have to do anything. You chose to do that. And now I ask you, was that the right choice? Now, whether you're the person who bought it or you're the realtor who helped them with it, seriously speaking, look back on that time. Was it the right choice? I know you made money. I know a lot of people in this industry made money. In fact, there's a ton of rock stars walking around like they're freaking rock stars because they made a few dollars in that time. Top producers and, award winners. Yeah? Show me that again. Show me that in this market right now where it's tougher. Show me that again in a year from now. I'm willing to bet that most of those people that made that kind of money, who just came into the industry, made a whole shit ton of money, and then, saw some hard times, many of them are probably out. In fact, here, I was at hockey last night. I was having a conversation with a very good friend of mine who's been in real estate for a very long time, and he truly is a rock star. He's built a fantastic business, understands where his business comes from, works his butt off all the time to get involved in the community, gives back to the community. I could go on and on and on. Okay? Fantastic dude. But he said something about the fact that You know, I'm trying to think of how he coined it, but it was like everybody is an expert now. And I said, everybody's an expert. He says, yeah, look at these guys. They go out there, making money, and now everybody's an expert. I said, an expert or a wannabe expert? See, are they truly an expert? Or do they just figure out how to make money? See, you've got to actually understand what it takes to survive in this business. You've got to actually understand what it takes to have longevity in this business, to be an expert. You've got to understand the market. You have to have been through many markets to sit back and say, I get it. I know what to do next. Unfortunately, though, again, social media has given way to many people to basically tout themselves as rock stars, however they want to put it out there. So look, we cannot allow what we see through social and what other people are trying to make themselves out to be to impact the way we feel about ourselves or to impact about, the way we go about what we do. This is where I'm going to come right back to the action step and say, focus on you. If you want the bigger car, the newer house, the vacation property, you want to go on vacation, again, maybe now isn't the right time. But I ask you, what are you doing today? What are you doing today to, again, focus on that you want, putting in the effort so that at some point you will get it, you will achieve it? There's got to be a plan. There's got to be certain action steps you take. And one of those I'm going to tell you right now, because of all of the stuff that we've talked about with the economy and other people's views and insights and all the other things you see online. By staying focused on you, it also means stay focused on feeding your mind on a daily basis. And look, seriously speaking, all jokes aside and any fun, you're doing that right now. And that should feel good. And I'm telling you now, many others are walking in the same shoes. It is not just you. So stay focused on what matters most in life. Don't try and keep up just because you see other people doing it. What do you want? How are you going to get there? What action steps are you going to take throughout every single day? Well, I want more opportunities. Well, here, I'll tell you, there's more opportunity. Open houses seem to be fruitful. I'm hearing that there's many buyers walking into these open houses right now, and they're not walking in with agents. In fact, let's talk to open house for a quick moment, because they seem to be, again, a really good source of opportunity. What does your sign-in process look like? Like, when people get to the door, do you just, say, hey, what's up, and, let them walk in? Do you have them scan a QR code so they can fill out information? Do you stand there with a clipboard and you fill it out for them? Do you try to build a little bit of rapport? Or do you sit there on your phone looking down and just say, hey, yeah, let me know if you got questions? See, I'm going to suggest to you that you've got a sign-in process that's going to allow you to pick up the information that you need to be able to follow up, such as a phone number, such as a name, and such as an email. These are the pieces of information we want. Yeah, I know, but Dave, sometimes they don't like signing in. Great. Don't come into the house. See, under my seller's instructions, they would like to know how many people came through, and we'd like to have contact information for those people in case anything was to happen today. If you don't feel comfortable with that, we thank you for coming by, but I'm sorry, I cannot let you walk through. But what happens if they want to come in and they really like the house, but I don't let them in? Maybe we don't get a deal. How far are you willing to go to get a deal? You gonna beg? You gonna do it for no money? At some point, you got to take control in the shoes that you wear and really try to actually get a deal put together. So my suggestion would be, look, everybody walks around with smartphones. You want to make sure you get the right email address? Don't even have anything printed at the house that you can give to them. Email it to them. They want a feature sheet? Email it to them. Here, I'm going to send it to you right now, soft copy. What's your best email? They give you the email, you type it in, you send it to them, and you say, did you get it? And you confirm. And they go, yeah, I did. Perfect. You know you got the right email. Now, much the same, I would suggest to you right then and there that once you've handed that to them, and whether you walk with them or you allow them to walk on their own, that you do ask them for a few minutes at the end. Hey, can we take, 3 minutes just before you walk out the house once you're done looking around? Just got a couple questions for you. And you get them to acknowledge and say yes. Now, if they tell you, like, sorry, you know what, there's no way I'm going to have time to stick around, I got to get out of here, perfect. How about this? Why don't we book another time? What you're trying to do is get the feedback at the end of it all. Now, we'll circle back to that in just a quick second. You get them to sign in. You confirm the email. You confirm the name and the phone number. You allow them to do you've asked them for a few minutes of time. You allow them to do the tour. Now I want you to think about here, and realistically we're talking about this right now because I want you to think about it before you do the open house, but what kind of experience are you creating for the people while they're there? And we know, have the lights on, have the windows open, make sure the toilets are flushed and the lids are closed and that the sink is empty and there's no dishes or dirty and, the floors are swept. Like, make the place look good, right? Make it look good, make it smell good, make it sound good, maybe a little bit of music playing in the background. Create an experience. But it's not just that. It's not just the atmosphere. It's, what are you providing? What kind of questions are you asking? What kind of effort are you putting into building rapport with these people? Because again, if they're walking in without agents, we want them to believe that we are professionals. We want them to see us in the best light. We want them to feel that we can be advisors, that they can ask us the questions. And remember, in a sales cycle, where you want to be ultimately in a sales relationship with others, is what we call the trusted advisor. You're trusted. They're going to come to you for advice. And when you say the sky is purple, they're going to believe the sky is purple because they trust you. Now, you're not going to get that with somebody right off the top when you first meet them. However, if you create the right experience, you're going to begin to create an impression. And they're going to look at you, somebody who's resourceful, somebody who's got the answers, somebody who's helpful, cordial, communicative, supportive. That's where you get the opportunity right then and there to potentially pick up a new set of clients. So again, think about the experience, not just the atmosphere of the property, but the experience itself when you're speaking to people. Now, I just said about the feedback. You asked, hey, can I get some feedback? Well, as you let them walk around the property, once they're done walking around the property, ask them the question. Now, oftentimes the question probably comes out and says, hey, do you have any questions? Hey, what did you like about the property? Hey, would you like to make an offer? And people will say, we got to think about it. Yeah, it was very nice. Are you getting honesty? Are you getting good feedback? How about this? Flip the script on the question. Ask the jarring question. What's a jarring question? Well, hey, so tell me, what did you absolutely not like about the house? Now think about that for a second. If there's a long laundry list of things they didn't like, they're going to start sharing it with you. Maybe they're going to feel bad and they're not going to tell you much. Maybe they'll just say, it really wasn't for us. At the same time, you're going to learn a lot because if there's the same kind of feedback coming back from each person you ask that question to, now you know what the issue with your listing is and you know what you can fix. Or maybe suggest to your seller that's got to be fixed. Furthermore, if they tell you there's nothing that they didn't like, well, then you can ask them, would you like to make an offer? See, we walk right into the opportunity to put a deal together. And this is what we call the art of making the deal, the art of getting it done. You got to get creative. Again, especially in today's market. Especially with so many people walking around by themselves looking for properties. They don't know what's going on. They might be looking for somebody. They should be looking for somebody who's going to advise them properly. And you could be just that person if you create the right experience when they first meet you. See, social media and the online game is going to be messaging that's one to many. But when you're in person with people, that's one to one. And that right there is where that know you, like you, trust you factor gets established. And it's the know you, like you, trust you factor, which creates the opportunity for, business. Just keep these things in mind, right? Because again, as we sat there for a few years, really, really playing the online game and getting, immersed in social and the video, and now we got AI, which everybody's, all bright, shiny object about. We know, I know, this business is a people business. Focus on the people. And of course, be consistent. Be consistent with everything. I mean, consistency is everything. Consistency in how you focus on yourself and what you need to do. Consistency of your discipline to achieving this work-life balance. Consistency of your marketing from prospecting to follow-up. Look, you know I'm not a fan of online leads. Okay? For the most part, they're very low quality. And that said, the even bigger issue is that most people don't follow up enough. Like I mentioned it a few minutes ago. Yeah, I called them a couple times. They didn't really do anything. Or they didn't pick up the phone. Or I don't know, they're ghosting me. Or yeah, they didn't seem very interested. You want to convert these things, you need to have a follow-up plan. And that's something that, again, I'll tell you, with our coaching clients and our coaching system, we teach what this bulletproof follow-up plan looks like. We teach you how to create a referral machine. We teach you how to actually convert. Because it's real easy to go in and spend a whole bunch of money on a company that says they're going to send you a bunch of leads, and they're going to be these random leads. You have no idea who they are. You go to pick up the phone. They normally don't answer the phone. They don't know how you even got their phone number, and then you give up. If you want to have success and you're going to go even down that road, and look, let's go to the whole umbrella here. Online leads, pounding the pavement, you're out door knocking, you're cold calling, maybe you're going through your social medias and you're reaching out to people that you barely know, but you're just making conversation through DMs. Whatever you're doing for prospecting, there's a lot of opportunities to prospect out there. It's got to be consistent. And then you got to follow up. And you got to have the patience to know that it's not going to happen immediately. Because again, like I keep saying about the social media world, this need for immediacy, this expectation of immediacy. Patience. You can't control the market. You can't control your competition. But you certainly cannot control the ridiculous decisions that our federal government is making. But what you can control are your daily actions. You want to keep growing your business no matter what the pulse of the market is? Then you need to be the one to make it happen. Nobody's going to do it for you. And no one said it was going to be easy. This is part of why I say feed your brain on a regular basis. Because when you go feed your brain, and you actually listen to what some of the most successful people in the world will teach you from their stories and their journeys, you will realize that everybody goes through trials and tribulations. Everybody goes through tough market. Everybody goes through challenges in their days. Everybody goes through the mindset of it's not happening, or I can't do it, or I'm not good enough, or it's not happening fast enough. We all have ups and downs. We're human. But again, having that plan, being focused on you, staying in the moment, not worrying about having to feed the outside world with information about you. And don't misunderstand me. Building mind share is an important part of getting more market share. I mean, that's how you get more market share, is by building that mind share. And yes, being part of social media, and yes, having a podcast like this, it's all part of that, putting content out there and connecting with others. Understand the most important point of this. It's about having a plan. Therefore, we're in control of our time, we're in control of our days, and we're in control of how we're going about doing this. Because if we're not, that's where we lose control, and we start to focus on others rather than on us. So I think a lot of this episode has been very much about that. It's about you gaining control for you. You recognizing that you've only got so much control about what's going on around you. But you got full control about you. Look, you and I both know your business comes from your contact list. And no matter the amount of technology that's available to you, social media, AI, online lead generation, do not get caught up in the hype. I mean, all this AI stuff right now. Look, there's a lot of amazing tools, and where this goes is nobody knows. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Somebody explained to me that if you're not gonna embrace AI, it's like not embracing the wheel when the wheel was first invented. And when that was said to me that way, it really hit home, and I thought, interesting. And we're watching AI only grow now. I mean, if you open up WhatsApp and Meta, Facebook, Instagram, there's AI. They've got this little button now for AI. It's becoming more and more integrated into things. But I want to make sure that we're very clear on the fact that there's a learning curve to it. You're going to have to understand what part of that you're going to actually leverage to implement into your world. Is it going to be from scheduling? Is it going to be from marketing? Is it going to be content creation, ideas? Is it going to be systems and processes? What is it? And the reality is, if you're not some, tech whiz, it's not going to be the easiest thing to implement. And for some, they'll get it very quickly. And again, depending on the application. But this is my point, though. It's the bright, shiny object right now. And we've got these trends that come to our industry every couple of years that people jump on the wagons and they go down this road of, I got to learn this. I got to do this. And I'm all for learning. I'm all for trying to improve. I just don't want you to get distracted. I just don't want you to get caught up in the hype. Because at the end of the day, our business, this business, it truly comes down to speaking with other people. So focus. Have that plan. Focus on the conversations, but don't expect them all to turn into business. And don't sell yourself short. You need to be leveraging a cross-channel approach to building the mind share. You need to be using all the channels. Oh, but Dave, I don't know, man. It's a little too much. I mean, I sending emails and then doing, social media and then making the phone calls. I mean, they know that I'm here. Oh, yeah? Do they? I mean, think about how many people are getting in this industry on a regular basis. Think about where these people came from. Think about how many of them you're like, who is this person? Where'd they come from? All of a sudden there's postcards coming out or there's a billboard. Doesn't mean they've done anything. It just means they spent money. But my point in all of this is there's a lot of noise out there. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't want to be part of the one causing the noise, then I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to be seen. You're not going to be heard. You're not going to be thought of. In today's marketing landscape, the communication channels we have, you've got to use them all. You just have to. You've got to have some sort of presence across social. You've got to have a website. You've got to be out there talking to people in person. You've got to be making your phone calls. You just have to be. It's no longer put an ad in the paper, put an ad in the Yellow Pages. So think about your marketing approach. Think about what channels you are using, maybe what you're not using. And be consistent. And like I said a moment ago, think one-to-one, not just one-to-many. Because that social media post you put out is one-to-many. A lot of people see it. But that phone call you have with somebody, that's the one-to-one. And it's that phone call, it's that one-to-one that really brings in the opportunity. So be proactive about your days. Don't be reactive. Oh, the phone rang. I'm going to go do that. Oh, somebody needs something. I'm going to go do that. What are you, an order taker? No, you're a hunter. At least you need to be. You need to get up every day thinking about how am I going to hunt for more business. And then when you catch that business, you got to go out and set more traps to hunt for even more business while you eat the business you just caught. It's a tough world out there. It really is. But by doing things the right way, day in and day out, doing the right things the right way, day in and day out, you will achieve the success that you are constantly striving for. It takes time, it takes perseverance, it takes discipline. But I know it because I live it. And I watch so many people that we have the fortune to be able to work with who put in that effort, they truly do get the results. So look, there's been a lot of blunt, straight talk today. We've touched on a lot of different topics. Tried to give you insights into, just what's going on out there. I'm trying to put your mind at ease that you're not the only one going through it. I gave you action steps around having a plan for how you operate in your day. Because ultimately, the only thing you can control is your day. Is what you do. Not what other people do. Not their day. It's yours. And if you feel like you can't do it on your own, I'll tell you, we will be right here at Mindshare 101. We'll be right here for you with our coaching system. You're either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com, and while you were there, be sure to check out the details of our upcoming Mindshare Mastermind. This is taking place in Toronto, September 16th to the 18th. I am, I'm not going to tell you very much about it. If you want, you go get the details. Go to mindshow101.com /mastermind. Check out the details. Everything is there for you. There is an opportunity for you to still book a ticket. We're getting down to the last number of seats in there, but again, go on over to the site, check out the details. If you got questions, get in touch with the team. But this is a room you want to be in. We are going to have some fantastic, some incredibly smart people in there, people that are not even industry related, that are going to give you insights into how they've done marketing and branding for some of the biggest companies in the world. We're going to give you insights into how to read people and help work deals in the ways that we want to get them done through objection handling and positioning and digging. So we've got a loaded lineup for you. This is definitely a room you want to be in. We're going to be doing a ton of problem solving together. We're going to have some fantastic people in there that are going to be collaborating and networking with each other. Mindshow101.com /mastermind. Go check it out. Of course, while you're at the website, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle so you can build more mindshare to earn more market share. Of course, for all inquiries, just get in touch with us today. And don't forget to leave a review of this podcast at www.ratethispodcast.com /mindshare101. Connect me on Facebook at Mindshow101, on TikTok at Mindshow101, and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems, a REM Magazine, and RIA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, for sponsoring this episode. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.